This is episode 501. And before we begin talking about the benefits of spending time alone, I'm going to do a quick review on last week's podcast, and that is the qualities that make up a great leader. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each one of those. If you'd like to have a more depth understanding of them, go back and listen to podcast number 500. But here they are. So the first thing that makes up a great leader is that they are courageous. They have a vision. They're authentic. They have integrity. They get results. They listen and observe. And they know it's always a team effort. They respect everyone. They're flexible with their behavior. They communicate, and communicate. They have passion and enthusiasm for what they're doing and for life. And they value themselves. So if you'd like to get a little bit more in-depth on these qualities that make up a great leader, go back and listen to podcast 500 through any of your favorite podcast channels, iHeart, iTunes, or go to warriormindcoach.com and you can see the show notes. So, with our private time, we spend a lot of that time texting, emailing, phoning someone, and we've really fallen short on spending time with ourselves. And there's a lot of things to gain just by spending time alone. Because we live in a world of social media influence, and it has great powers over us, and it prevents us from spending time by ourselves. We'll spend more time perhaps virtually with other people than we will physically in real life with ourselves. So, think about it. Have you ever thought about just getting away? Not running. Well, yeah, all of us want to run away in these days, in this current environment, but just spending time alone, spending time by yourself. How often have you thought about it? And what could you use this time? You could use this time to do what you love, what you've cherished, what you've wanted to do on your own. Think about it. Just spending time alone for yourself. And there's so many great benefits, but I'm going to review 10 of them right now. So the first one, there's no pressure on performance. That is, you get to do what you want to do when you want to do it. You do those activities that you've loved to do. When we're at work or when we're in a gym or doing something, there may be pressure, and that might not be the right word, but there's an expectation unconsciously that we have to perform because people may be watching us. And that may be, at jobs, doing a presentation, talking to clients, or at the gym, working out, or doing something. But by spending time alone, it's just you. So you get to do what you want because of the sheer enjoyment of it, not because you have to perform at a certain level. Also, spending time alone, you can get away from watching eyes and questions, and you can just be creative. You can just let your creative juices flow again, because there's not this discerning look that you may feel that people are watching you. If you wanted to color in a coloring book, you can do it. There's nobody there to, quote, judge you about it. Or you could just start to think of great things that you wanted to do. Get some painting, get some clay, do some sculpting, do something, right? This is when you're by yourself. There's this abundance of space around you that allows for your creativity to be expressed, to show. And creativity can add so much joy and happiness to our life. I don't know when the last time you put your hand in some clay and created a pot or a cup, or when you painted or drew or created just some soundtrack, some music. But that creative process is so fulfilling for all of us, but if we don't spend time alone, we are missing out on that. Refreshing time. Spending time alone frees you from the kind of stress that you've always wanted to run from and gives you enough time to regain your lost energy and a zest for life. You could just be spending time alone in a hammock, in the forest, just relaxing, just refreshing time, maybe floating down a river, maybe taking a hike, but all these are things that can just help you refresh and energize your batteries. Time to sort out problems. When we get, especially if you're married or have a significant other and have some kids there and have a boss and have friends, you're being pulled in many directions. And when we have some challenges to face, we don't have that quiet space to sit down and go through the challenges to come up with solutions, because we all have the solution. We all have solutions to our problems if we give ourselves the space and time for them to appear. This is why I like meditation so much, is that during that meditative process, you can ask your unconscious mind to give you a solution to a problem, and you sit and put on some music and just be quiet and reflect, and lo and behold, the solution will appear, maybe not immediately, but within a short period of time. But if we're so busy, we're never going to be able to tap into our power, our ultimate self, our soul, our inner knowing, if we're so busy with the outside noise. So this is when you spend time alone, it's a great way to come up with solutions to problems that you may be facing. Better understanding of yourself. So contemplation of yourself. Spending time alone affords you time to look into yourself and find out what you love and hate about life, about people. And hate's a strong word, so perhaps it would be maybe we can just look at what you love and forget about what you don't like. But when you can focus on what you love and do more of it, then you will become a more happy and productive person. But we don't understand. When we can sit and one of the great things to do is maybe take an assessment, maybe take a values assessment, take the results of it, go someplace in nature, sit down and read through these values and determine, wow, I didn't know I had this value, or where does this value show up in my life? But when you start asking those questions about your values and beliefs, you're then better able to understand yourself, and you're better able to make changes and adapt new beliefs and values if the ones you have aren't supporting the life that you want to live. A new best friend emerges. That is, you are going to be your own best friend. With spending time alone and dissecting your life will help you know yourself more and begin to respect the kind of person you are. So these two go hand in glove, right? Is better understanding yourself and then becoming your own best friend. And that means that you know the answers. You can be good with yourself. Many people don't know how to be quiet because they're either texting, watching TV, and they don't know who they really are, and they don't like themselves. So, but when we can take that time and be absolutely quiet, and it's scary, it's uncomfortable sometimes because we're so used to static going on in our lives, whether it's through TV, radio, social media. But when we can sit still and better understand ourselves and understand what makes us tick, we will then begin to love ourselves, and we will be our own best friend. You can get more accomplished. So creating time for yourself will enable you to attend to those things. The important things is getting them done, not whether you enjoy doing them or not. And this is spending time for yourself. This could be like doing those chores, whether it's laundry, cleaning the house. But when you spend time alone, you can get these things done. As a matter of fact, I happened to participate in some of that, although I didn't really enjoy it. But the air quality here last weekend was not the best, and so I decided to stay in. So I had time to myself, and I just cleaned my place. I cleaned it from top to bottom, did everything. Not that I liked it, but or enjoyed it, but I knew it was necessary, and it gave me time to contemplate on the things that I have around me. Do they support my energy? Do they distract from it? So it was a really great process of reflecting on what I'm surrounding myself with. How am I creating a better environment? You can also become more relaxed and tolerant. And this is just spending time alone is a meditative practice. And spending time alone can bring the calmness that will free you from the unpleasant attitude. Normally, when we have stress, when we have anxiety, when we have disempowering emotions, it's because all this noise is coming into us. Our friends want our attention. Our boss wants our attention. Our significant other wants it. We want to distract ourselves with TV, but that's noise also. But when we can be quiet and be still, especially if you can get out into nature by a running stream and just sit there, you will be amazed at how quickly you relax. Your shoulders will start to come down. Your breathing will get softer. It'll get fuller. Just spending time alone. And it really is just like a rehab, going out into nature. If you're too far away from nature, you can just sit at home alone and do the same thing. It's remarkable on the shift that can be created in your attitude and your energy by spending time alone. Possibilities of life, spending enough time to think what your life goals are and how to best go about them. This is also, this is why you can call this contemplation, spending time alone. But most of us have a life that we really have not planned for. It's just happened this way. We got a job here. We bought this house. We bought this car. We married this person. And we've created this life. But is it really the life that we really truly desire? What goals do you have? What's on your bucket list for the next 3 years, 5 years? Spending time alone allows you to start reflecting and start contemplating and asking those questions, right? This gets back to knowing yourself and being your best friend. Knowing yourself is based on your values, your beliefs, and your goals. But if you don't spend time alone, you go, I'll do it later. And when I say spending time alone, this is not 10 minutes. This is a couple of 3, 4, 5 hours. Now, that seems like a lot. Well, I can't afford that. I have this to do, this to do, this to do. Well, guaranteed, if you got sick and put in the hospital, you'd find the time. So that's just a lame excuse for being uncomfortable with being alone. If 5 hours is too much, do it for an hour. Just go for a walk. Don't put on any headphones. Don't do anything. Just listen to the sounds and start to think and contemplate. And what do you want out of life? Start to consider, what do you want out of life? What are your goals? And then this is just time with your awesome self. I mean, you are the center of your life. You are the most important person in your life. And spending time with yourself is a good way to show that you cherish who you are. Think about it. You're giving all day long to coworkers, to bosses, to significant others, to friends, to families, to kids. You're giving, but how much time are you giving to yourself? So spending time alone is saying, hey, I'm important. I love me. I'm going to spend time alone. It could be in a hot tub. It could be a jacuzzi. It could be someplace that you just love, a sauna. But just be by yourself and refrain from conversation. If you go to a gym or in a sauna, you don't have to be rude, but you can give very good body signals that you don't want to be disturbed, looking down, things like that. But just go inward and be by yourself. This is you. Treat yourself well. You only have one you. Treat it well. Spend time with yourself. Reflect on what's important to you about life, where you are in life, where do you want to go, and some of the ways that you can get there. So there's no limit on what we can find and carry out when we create time to check and enjoy ourselves when the need arises. The era we find ourselves today, right, it just demands so much of us. Spending, again, with TV because we want to keep up with the news, friends, family, all this stuff. It's just we're being pulled in so many directions and have so much distractions that we need to not find, but make time. When we find time, it's not a priority. When we make time, it is a priority. And so practice and then reap these benefits. Just start out one day a week for spending time alone, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday. Carve out, make time for 1 hour and do it and see what type of energy comes back, what type of shift in perspective, how well you feel. You will be amazed, and then you will start to continue it more days a week and longer time. So the next time the podcast is going to cover, I'm not too sure yet. But to go back to this one, if you want to find out more information, you can visit warriormindcoach.com, use the pull-down menu, click on the blog, find the show notes, and start to enjoy spending time by yourself. Also, please follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest under Warrior Mind Coach.